Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swagglehas. And in this video, I bought the dip, or at least I think I bought the dip for this mega key that I'm excited to unbox with you guys here today. I'm going to show you guys the book that I picked up. I think I might have got a good price for it, but I could be totally wrong. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys the book that I got, why I decided to pick it up, and then later on in the video, more importantly, we're going to do a little napkin math together and see if we can figure out, an equation to look at where prices could potentially be in this current bear market. But before I get into the video, if you guys could drop me a like or comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, helps support the channel, doing those things, I would appreciate it. But let us get us into this video here today. And of course, I got this unboxing here to do, so we always got to start with the fun stuff and get right to it. This is a book that I actually picked up a week or two, maybe 2 weeks ago now. I've been waiting for the right time to do this unboxing with you guys because I had been traveling, I'd been working, I'd been doing other things. And this is a book that I picked up on Instagram on a live claim sale. So what's funny is this is a key that I've been sort of looking out for a little bit of time here. We got this, the height of this key about 6 or 7 months ago. And I always told myself, okay, when prices start to cool down and things start to, go a little bit under the radar, I might look to make a purchase on this thing. So a recent auction had come up, the Comic Connect one, and the Comic Connect one had come up for this, and I was actually watching a few of these copies of this book go on sale for that particular auction, and it was really funny because even though all the Comic Connect auctions were definitely getting beat up and going under, this book, for whatever reason, in that auction, ended up selling basically at market value or even a little bit more than market value. And I was really, really disappointed because I thought I was going to be able to get a steal. So then, I was disappointed. I went over to my Instagram. I instantly jumped on Elite Comics 11, their live stream that they were doing for their Instagram sale. And I saw that this book was being sold. And I was basically really, really frustrated. And I was like, I want the book. I lost out on the auctions. I threw out a number. And the book that I ended up picking up here is Tales of Suspense, number 57, first appearance of the character known as Hawkeye. Now, of course, you guys know Hawkeye, played by Jeremy Renner, a very cool character. I've always really enjoyed Hawkeye overall. I know that he gets memed on a lot as being sort of the most useless Avenger, but I've really always liked Hawkeye throughout the comic books. I've always enjoyed playing Hawkeye in various video games, and I've always liked Jeremy Renner's take on Hawkeye. This wasn't necessarily a book that I had ever really been targeting, but it was definitely a book that after the Hawkeye show and thinking about where the landscape is going and thinking about how, I think that Jeremy Renner is going to come back. I think he's going to do a West Coast Avengers thing. I mean, now that we have Wonder Man coming to the table, it definitely feels like Jeremy Renner is going to probably be that leadership role in the West Coast Avengers. In fact, he's actually said that he would be interested in doing that and being the more like Captain America type of role in the MCU. So I'm really excited to pick up this book. Definitely a book like many of the books out there, related to the movies and the TV shows, has really, really cooled off from where it was selling, at the time when we had the Hawkeye show in December. And that's really why I decided to pick this up, because I felt like, with everything going on in the economy, with the fact that we're 6 months removed from the show, I felt like now was going to be a good time to pick up this thing. This one was graded at a 4.5 grade. Just looking at it really quickly, I'd have to take it out of the bag and examine it. Maybe you could get a 4.5, or maybe you can get a 4 or 5, somewhere in that ballpark. But I ended up paying $650 for it. So a pretty pricey book still, even with the correction. And, I don't know. I felt like I kind of just jumped into it. I was watching those auctions, and all of those books ended up selling for like $700, $800, almost $900, the ones that I was looking at. And I was frustrated because I thought that I was going to be able to snipe one in that window. And then I just jumped on this one as like a sort of a buy it now offer for $650. But I think I might have jumped the gun a little bit. I think I probably could have got it cheaper, especially since, a week later I was following an auction on eBay, and that one actually went for $600 for basically the same book, but already in a slab. So that was a little bit of a gut punch when I saw that sale happen. But, I wanted to see if we can maybe, talk about, where we are in the market using my Silver Age comic book index, and kind of see if we can kind of come up with some equations or some quick formulas or napkin math to figure out what books potentially should be valued at right now. You know, we're seeing a lot of prices dropping, and it's sort of hard to know if the prices are going to continue to go down, or, you know, if we're getting a good deal at this current time. And so I wanted to kind of take a look, you know, at the overall market and see if we can kind of figure out any trends to, you know, what's currently happening with the values. And basically from there, we can have this tool that we can use to make decisions for our purchases. So let me get into this one right here. And let me just talk quickly about, you know, basically the comic book index and everything that I've been trying to figure out. And I think that you guys are really, really going to enjoy this if we can, you know, if you guys can sit through these kind of, you know, boring numbers for a second. But of course, the book I got is Tales of Suspense 57. Let's hop over to the comic book index. Now, if you guys didn't happen to see, I put out a video the other week where I basically made a Silver Age comic book index. I'll put a link in the description if you guys want to navigate to that video. But I'm going to assume you guys understand what you're looking at. But basically, this is the graph that showcases, you know, the value of the Silver Age from 2018 up through 2022. And you can really see, you know, when we got the kind of boom of 2021, you can see where the prices have really shot up to. And then based on this last sale, you can see that it's now selling around that $57,000 range or so, basically in terms of like the monetary value per month that is going into this. And so I wanted to kind of really break this down and see if we can figure out anything in particular that can be useful to us as we try to determine our purchases in the future. So let's just take a look right here at the trend line. Now, this trend line, I would say, is pretty optimistic in terms of the comic book Silver Age value. You know, it's saying that we started at 15,000 and, you know, we went all the way up to 80,000. But, you know, I don't really know if this is a good determination of what the consistent index has gone up for over these course of these last 4 years or so. But what I'm more interested in is getting rid of this trend line and just assuming that the year of 2021, all of these peak prices basically never happened. And if I'm to kind of make an assessment that, you know, where the prices are now is where we should have been, right? We've kind of erased, you know, the inflation of 2021 and the, you know, the COVID bubble and all that stuff. And now we're kind of trading back in line to probably where we should have been, you know, had we not had, you know, this crazy economic situation. And when I look at, you know, where we started at 2018 to where we are now in June of 2022, what I basically did is calculate, okay, year to year, how much has this index gone up in terms of, you know, percentage ROI? So if I start with January of 2018, we have $15,000 here in this month. We have $18,000 here in the next month. Let's just ignore the 15,000 because I feel like maybe that's an anomaly number. 18,000 seems to be more in line. So if we go from February 2018 with $18,000 up to January of 2019, we get about $26,000. So what does that basically mean? Well, in 2018, we basically bought 100 Silver Age comic books. We spent $18,000. And then in January of 2019, we sold them all for $26,000, which roughly speaking gives us about a 30% return on our money. So that's pretty good overall, you know, definitely really good returns. All right, so let's say that in January of 2019, we buy another 100 Silver Age books, we spend $26,000 and we sell it the next year in January of 2020. Well, you know, here it says 29,000, February is 31,000, December is 31,000. Let's say that average it's 30,000 to make the math easy. We went from 26,000 to 30,000, basically a 15% return on our money. Okay, not as good as 2018, but still we're definitely going up. We're making some money. All right, now we buy $30,000 worth of comic books in 2020 and we sell them at the end of 2021 or the end of 2020 and January of 2021. Obviously, there's a big jump here in this particular year, but roughly speaking, we can say that this is maybe $40,000. So we went from January of 20 where we had $30,000, we sold it to $40,000. You know, we're talking about now a 25% return on our money, generally speaking, depending on which number you want to use. So basically what I'm saying here is that anywhere from January of 2018 up through the end of 2020, we basically saw anywhere from 30% to 15% return on our money. So let's assume that that's actually what it always should have been. So here we are 2 years later at the end of 20, we went through 2021, now we're halfway through 2022. Effectively, we should be calculating all of the values of books based on a 15 to 30% return on our money. That would be, you know, the napkin math formula. So what does that mean in terms of, you know, the books that we're buying and how much we think we should be spending? Well, let me do the calculation with my Tales of Suspense 57 here. So I'm going to go down to the 4.5 grade because it has a 30-day average. I'm assuming that this book is actually a 4.5 grade. And let's use our calculations of what this book's value should have been and what the right number for me to be spending on this thing. So again, we're doing quick napkin math here. We're just, you know, quickly helping you guys sort of figure out a way to make decisions when making purchases here. So at the end of 2020 in December, this book, roughly speaking, was a $450 book. Let's say it was a $450 book. So let's be conservative here. Let's say that this book is only going to return 15% of our money. So we go 450 times 0.15, we get $67 plus 450, we got $517. So in 2021, this book should have been $517. You can see here people were buying this thing for $1,400 in June of 2021. We go another year here, so we do our calculations. We're talking about 15%. We add it back to our total, and roughly speaking, we're basically in 2020. This book's true intrinsic value based on the numbers of return should be around $594, around that $600 range. And what do we see here? The last auction that I was talking about here on eBay sold for $600. So based on all of these metrics, in my opinion, where we are and what the real quote unquote year-to-year return rate should be is that, $600 right here is basically the bottom. This person got a great deal, kind of right in line to the average returns that this book should have been doing, outside of all these economic factors. Now, that doesn't mean to say that this book won't go lower. It could definitely go lower. Anything can happen. We're just trying to make sense of things as best we can overall. So, this person got a steal, but I would say that if you're someone who can find this book for $600, generally speaking, that's probably going to be a good purchase. Yes, you run the chance that it could go lower, but outside of the recession factors, this is basically where the value of this book should effectively be. Now, let's say that we were a little more optimistic about what this book could potentially be, and that we thought that it was going to get a 30% return. So what do we say? It was 450 times 0.3. We get that. We get 450. So in 2021, it could have been $585 as a book. And then if we do the same thing, we do some of the math right here. Effectively, if we're really optimistic about the return of the Hawkeye numbers, and we said that it was going to be a 30% return year over year, this book's true value would be $760. So you can see right here some of these prices that people paid: $750, $775, $750. I don't think necessarily those are bad prices to be paying, because that's possibly what this book could have been doing overall in terms of like the rate of return. Now, some of the people who bought this book, say in December, who are spending around the $1,000 range, that's where I think these people really overshot the price points for these particular books. And if you're someone who's buying this right now in the window of, say $600 to $750, I think generally speaking, you're doing pretty well overall. And that really to me is where I kind of determine like how much I was going to spend on this thing. I mean, I ended up spending $650 for a raw copy. So I probably could have got it a little bit cheaper overall. So, I maybe bought the dip, but not really. And again, this is just me using kind of my index fund to calculate the formula of the return. I actually have no idea if this is going to end up holding up. We're heading into a recession. Obviously the numbers could be getting a lot lower, but the assumption is that, when we are out of the recession and things start to recover, presumably, a 15% increase in terms of the value of the book seems like it could be a reasonable thing to expect. And so that's what I would generally say to you guys. If you're out there looking to make purchases on some of these bigger books and you're really unsure where the prices are going to be, this is probably the formula I would use, in determining, what the price or fair market value of a book should be. If I was over here and I was looking at, say, I don't know, like an Incredible Hulk 181, and I basically wanted to buy the 4.0, generally what I would do is I'd go to what the book's kind of median value was in 2020. If we look here, it's like a $2,400 book. I basically would say, all right, do I think that this book is going to return 15% year over year? Or do I think it's going to return 30% year over year? I would do those calculations. And if you did those calculations, you would find that, in 2020, effectively the book should be around the $3,100 range. You can see right here that, a lot of people are spending a lot more than $3,100. So my suspicion would be that this book will continue to correct to around the $3,100 range. Maybe you're someone who's a little more optimistic about the Wolverine character. Someone like this person got $3,400 on their purchase right here. So that's, basically a 20% return year over year. And maybe that makes sense because you're thinking about this character being a big character for the future. Similarly here, I look at Avengers 48, first Black Knight, and I look at the 7.0 grade, one that has a high amount of data points. And I think about, okay, the value of this book, in January of 2021 or December of 2020 was roughly around $380. I do, again, the calculations year over year effectively, where it is right now, at the $579 range is probably where it should have been, outside of all of the increase in the, values of what we saw during the height of COVID. So that's kind of my general formula. Let me know what you guys think. This is me trying to utilize my Silver Age index to make these, purchase determinations. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. I got my new book right here, Tables of Suspense 57. Gonna put it on the wall behind me. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.